Israel's wars are in full swing. Netanyahu already has his hands full, but he has decided to pick another fight, this time with an unlikely opponent, French President Emmanuel Macron. The latest tiff started because of Macron's comments on Saturday.
Néanmoins, nous essayons aussi d'être cohérents.
We also try
Et
to be
lorsque nous
consistent.
demandons des
And when we
cessez-le-feu,
call for
c'est le cas pour
ceasefires,
Gaza, ça a
this is
aussi
the
été le
case
cas
for Gaza.
pour
This was
le
also
Liban
the
la semaine
case for
dernière.
Lebanon last week.
Eh bien, nous tâchons
When we
de
try not to
ne
call
pas
for a
demander un
ceasefire
cessez-le-feu
while
tout en
continuing to
continuant à livrer
deliver
les armes de la guerre.
And I think it's just
Et
consistency.
je pense que c'est simplement de la cohérence. La semaine dernière, à New York,
Last week, in New York, President Biden, like myself, endorsed a ceasefire text for Lebanon that the United States was in favor of. In finalizing this text, it had been discussed with both Lebanese actors and Israel. And I regret that Prime Minister Netanyahu made another choice and took on this responsibility, in particular land operations on Lebanese soil. And so, yes, if we call for a ceasefire, what's consistent is not to provide weapons of war. And I think that those who supply them cannot call for a ceasefire every day and continue to supply them.
c'est de ne pas fournir les armes de la guerre. Et je pense que ceux qui la fournissent
It seems logical enough. It's hypocritical and frankly absurd to call for a ceasefire while fueling a war, while supplying weapons being used in the same war. And France really does not provide weapons to Israel. They sent just about $33 million worth of equipment last year, which is what Israel burns through in a day. So Emmanuel Macron is not lying. And he's right about the hypocrisy. It's something that the US would do well to understand. But Macron's statement drew sharp criticism from Netanyahu.
As Israel fights the forces of barbarism led by Iran, all civilized countries should be standing firmly by Israel's side. Yet President Macron and some other Western leaders are now calling for an arms embargo against Israel. Shame on them. Is Iran imposing an arms embargo on Hezbollah, on the Houthis, on Hamas, and on its other proxies? Of course not. The axis of terror stands together. But countries who supposedly oppose this terror axis call for an arms embargo on Israel. What a disgrace.
Now, some of you might agree with Netanyahu. Iran definitely won't impose an arms embargo on its proxies. So then why is Macron calling for an end to arms supplies to Israel? Well, Macron has his own agenda. Right now, he's concerned about just one thing, and that is the safety of Lebanon. For those of you who don't know, here are some facts about Lebanon. It's a country in West Asia. It is located to the north of Israel. The population there is about 68% Muslim, both Shia and Sunni, 68%, and about 32% Christian, mostly Maronite Christians who are in full communion with the Catholic Church. What's more, this country is Francophone, meaning they speak French. Arabic is the official language of Lebanon, but about half the country can speak some degree of French. French is sometimes used as an official language in governance. This is because France once controlled Lebanon. It was in the aftermath of the First World War. France was given Lebanon and Syria after the fall of the Ottoman Empire. In fact, Lebanon exists as we know it today because of France. Here is what Paris did. It merged the Maronite Christian territories with the traditionally Arab areas, and it created the modern country of Lebanon. So France has ties with Lebanon and its people. Now, with this in mind, let's look at the situation in Lebanon again. Israel is fighting Hezbollah, a Shiite militant group based in Lebanon, living side by side with Sunni Muslims and Maronite Christians. Israel is bombing Lebanon, and the bombs do not differentiate between the Hezbollah fighter and the Lebanese civilian. So a large proportion of the people getting killed are French-speaking Maronite Christians. This would be enough to bother any French president, and Emmanuel Macron has always seen himself as something more, a new unifier of the French-speaking world. His achievements on that front can be doubted, but his ambition cannot. Macron has always wanted to be seen as a leader of Europe and of French-speaking countries. And that is why he spoke out this weekend while his country was hosting a summit of Francophone nations. It was another attempt to take the leading role in the French-speaking world, and it's something that Lebanon is counting on.
Frankly, we're counting on France a lot, much more than other countries. We are also counting heavily on the Franco-American initiative, which was prepared in New York.
So will Macron's support change anything, or will it just make Netanyahu more aggressive? Guess we'll find out in the days to come.
Firstpost decodes the U.S. election. Explains how America chooses its president. Your primer on the race to the White House. Everything you need to know about how America votes and its global implications. U.S. Election Explained. Every Monday and Thursday only on Firstpost.